Hello and welcome back to the Flat Chat. It's me, Callum and Heige here. We're just off the back of an hour-long recording session about the Scottish Premier League 12 through to 1 and our predictions. We're just going to show a wee clip of Celtic and Rangers because it's quite a long video and it's a really good clip. It's quite feisty, so enjoy, guys.
Yes, like and subscribe.
Right, top two.
So just 1 and 2. So I'm going to assume here, seeing as they are Celtic, Rangers, we've got Celtic in first, Rangers in first, Rangers in first.
Yes, I have.
Is that what we're saying then?
I have.
Potentially.
Potentially. So Stu, what do you have then?
I have Celtic in second.
Yeah, and you've Rangers in first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And why? Right, we'll start with Stu then.
We'll start with
why
we'll
do you think Rangers will finish ahead of Celtic?
I think they've made
Besides being a fan.
better additions this summer. I think Rangers signings have been very good. I think that ultimately a lot of the problem they had last season is they were just not able to train. Like when you're playing Thursday, Sunday every week, the amount of full activity training sessions you're getting is so low. Because, it's going to be Thursday, rest, maybe train on Friday actually, then rest Saturday. And it's such a tough thing to do when you're a new manager coming in. You're getting about 4 training sessions every 2 weeks. There's not much you can do in that situation. And add to that, Celtic's addition, they've spent pretty much 11 million on signing players they already had.
Yeah.
And then they've got a backup centre-back, a left-back who can't get in above Greg Taylor in pre-season, and an old man.
Yeah. that is their signings.
They've signed half their squad to actually play for them again.
They bought Carter, Vickers and Jota.
And Maida as well.
Yeah. And they've lost one of their best players in my opinion, Rogic.
I mean, I wouldn't say
Is that like McCoy's favourite player?
On his day. He's the Paul Pogba of Scottish football.
On his day. When he can last 60 minutes, that's...
No, but he's a creative threat, and they brought Aaron Moy in to replace him.
Then I was told they are getting another centre mid in from what I understand though.
Are you not a fan of Aaron Moy then?
I do like Aaron Moy, but I was a bit I did have a couple of question marks about the signing. I've got no qualms.
He's not stuck away in China.
He was out of contract, so he signed as a free agent.
I bet he was in China.
He was in China, yeah. But again, obviously a couple of seasons ago for Huddersfield Town was easily one of their best players.
And they get relegated.
Aye, still one of their best players in that as well. So I thought
that's what Arsenal fans said about Ramsdale. He was Sheffield United's best player, but they finished 20th. So
he went to Arsenal and Arsenal finished 5th. So
there you go. You might finish 4th.
You might finish 5th.
Well, I was going to say, but no.
In China. He's slowed down. He's not the same.
He's not the same player. I will say that. But
sources in China are telling me.
This is the man that has sources in China. But no, second I've got Rangers. I agree.
Honestly, I had to talk about Rangers.
I agree with the sentiment that they've made some good signings. They've signed Matondo, they've signed Kolak, who was from Almond, was fantastic. They've signed
Matondo, by the way.
Matondo's a very good player, I will give them that. John Suter as well from Hearts, very good signing. And Yilmaz from Turkey and that as well, he's really good. He is a player. But the reason
about Lawrence, what a player he is. Davis as well. Oh, what a player!
Derby County merchant and Celtic bench player merchant.
Was it not used? Asked him to come and they said no.
Oh, please come. And he didn't.
But that's not how we negotiated. But all right. But fuck you.
Ange told me himself, even though Ange wasn't there yet.
But basically, the reason why I've got them second is because
you're a Celtic fan.
1, because I'm a Celtic fan, obviously, and 2, I just don't think that they can. See, in terms of the players that they signed at the start of the window, they signed, obviously, you're talking about us signing players that are we had to keep the team together. You signed Alan McGregor and Stephen Davis at 39 and 40 years old at new deals.
It's not a signing, it's a
so basically,
you spent no money. You had to spend 11 million to keep your squad together.
Aye, but you can't say that Jota and CCV don't have more upside than McGregor and Davis.
Obviously they do,
but they're signing new deals because ultimately we're making a lot of signings and we want to keep the squad together. I probably would
have the exact same thing.
No, but you're spending your
11 million a year and his wages.
You're spending your transfer budget to keep your squad together. We spent 0 of our transfer budget to keep our squad together.
I mean,
we made 27 million off of Bassey. You've made nothing.
27 million euros, I must say.
That's like exchange rate. It's more than Tierney.
It's not more than Tierney.
He's the record transfer fee of a Scottish
It's
player.
not. It's
Yes?
it's 22 million pounds. Tierney was 25. So
add-ons. Come on.
But you're talking about things that might not happen here.
No,
Celtic was 25 straight up in that as well. But I think Celtic just have more depth and better rotation options than Rangers.
do.
Of course you're not going to think that they do. You are a Rangers fan.
You've got two good centre halves. Then you've signed a boy for Greenpeace who tweets about turtles all day and sat on the bench for Lorient. You've got a fucking boy who can't defend and Greg Taylor as your left back.
Don't real.
No, you mean that.
But actually, you mean that you have more depth.
I do mean we've got more depth because we do.
Right, so go through your
Just
possessions.
because of the fucking reaction he's generating.
Right. What positions do you have more depth at? You have 2, potentially 3 decent centre halves, and then Stephen Welsh.
I didn't say we had more depth. I said our depth is better than
Right, go on.
Rangers.
Go. What, like centre half, we have more depth. There we are. And I don't think that's a deep set possession for us. I think it's just you have 0 depth at centre half.
Left back.
Starfelt, CCV, Jens, Julian, Stephen Welsh.
Julian
doesn't exist.
Julian does exist.
I've
seen
They
it.
tried to
try and sell him because he's got fucking chocolate knees.
You tried to punt Julian for nothing, and no one took him.
Right. So
No, basically that's also incorrect because basically it was player demands that stopped Schalke from taking Julian.
Aye,
Actually,
so they say.
So they say it was basically on Sky Sports and using on like transfer fees.
Centre half, we've got Davis,
Goldson,
Sutter as like the 3 who's
Alander.
going to play. Alander if he's ever fit, but.
And you're talking about Julian having chocolate knees. That man has chocolate hamstrings. So
Left back, we've got Yilmaz and Barisic both start for you.
no, you don't.
How?
Barisic does not start.
So you're trying to say Greg Taylor's better than Barisic?
He was this season. Fucking Barisic did this in an Old Firm game.
Barisic is looking good again.
Barisic's problem.
Barisic wanted to do a shite in the Celtic Park turf because he couldn't fucking cope with a
Talk
bad.
about one game.
It was the game that practically won Celtic the league. So
Have you watched Greg Taylor though?
he has actually improved at leaps and bounds. I think.
Greg Taylor is a wee boy.
It's telling that is him improved though.
Of course you're going to say that again, Stu. You are a Rangers fan, so it is automatically inclined that you're going to not like Celtic players.
No, I just think Greg Taylor's fucking rotten.
Because he's a Celtic player.
No, I think
You
our
have
Celtic
two
players are
players.
good.
You've got Jota, he's half decent. He's like
Half
He's
decent.
like half as good as Kent.
Let's take a look at the stats for last season then, shall we?
That was the easiest bite I would ever get. Kyogo, again, he's half decent, but he's injury prone.
No.
Hatate, again,
also signed a striker that played half the season and still ended up with the same amount of goals as Regan Charles Cook, who played the full season. So
You're comparing a Celtic striker to a Ross County midfielder here.
a Ross County midfielder that was getting the plaudits of the entire league.
Because he's a Ross County midfielder who's top goal scorer.
So basically, it doesn't really matter. Oh, let's just burn off what Yakimakis managed to do because look at Regan Charles Cook because he plays for Ross County.
No.
What are you talking about? That's pure waffle. Like, why
You have been waffling for the last 5 minutes.
Reagan Charles Cook out of nowhere to
You just brought up Regan Charles Cook.
It was him. You have lost your head.
You fucking lost your head.
What
I
are you
was trying to be nice
No.
here. I actually gave Rangers some credit in signing good
listen.
players, but no, they're all shite. So
Aaron, you said Kyogo scored the same amount of goals.
I
this
said
season.
Yakimakis scored the same.
No, you said Kyogo. But
No, I did not.
Right,
Said.
right.
I did not. You're fucking deaf. Get that hair out your ears and actually start listening.
If only there was an idiot, but you said Kyogo.
Get that hair out your ears and start listening. You'll actually hear that I said Yakimakis.
You said Kyogo and then you said Yakimakis afterwards.
No, I was talking about Yakimakis. You were
I-
talking about Kyogo.
Right, but you said whoever it was had the same amount of goals as Charles Cook in half a season that Charles Cook had the full season.
Yes.
You brought him up.
Yes, I brought up Yakimakis after you brought up Kyogo. This man has his hair in his ears and didn't listen to that. So
Right, we don't need to get personal.
I know, you know.
Like, but the point being, who the fuck asked about Reagan Charles Cook? Like, what? That is a mute point. Like, Like, who fucking cares?
Basically, what we're learning here is I'm not allowed to give praise to Celtic players because they don't like
No,
it.
you are.
No,
You don't compare
it's
your
just,
Celtic team
it's
to Ross
just a fucking stupid comparison. It's
No,
not.
they-
Maybe Charles Cook doesn't play for Rangers.
What
He's
you
a
should-
right mid for Ross County, who was a top scorer in the league.
What you should have said was Jack Marcus scored more than Morelos last season. That would have been a good
I mean,
point.
that wouldn't have been hard because Morelos was injured, but
Exactly, but
like-
whoever Rangers striker was throughout the season, do you know who it was?
I mean, from what I can gather, it was Roof, but like,
Yeah, exactly.
like, I mean, obviously, I just think, in my opinion, Celtic have got a sort of a younger squad that they can rely on for more of the season than Rangers can rely on their depth. Rangers will rely on their key players, and yeah, good players. I'm not going to turn around and say that they're not. They've made some fantastic signings. I'm not going to turn around and dispute that. But I think, see if you're looking like to bring on a player that's going to change again, like 75th, 80th minute. Say for talk's sake, we are up at Ross County. Celtic can rely on, I think, a better bench than Rangers can, and it'll be those kind of points that I think swings the title in the favour of Celtic.
Who's your bench?
Well, on our bench, obviously, we've got the likes of Bernabe who can come on at left back. We've got, obviously, we'll look at Aaron Moy in that as well. We've got Gucci who can play a good couple of games, although obviously not now because he's injured, unfortunately. We've got Jens who can provide a good piece of backup in the centre-half position. We've got Julian who's also there. We've got Segrist, an actual reliable backup goalkeeper for the first time in years. Let's not, I refuse to talk about Scott Payne. But in terms of that, obviously, if depends who we're playing up front, we can bring on the likes of Maeda, we can bring on Kyogo, we can bring on Giakoumakis, we can bring on a lot of
Some of them
decent
will
options.
start.
Aye, but it depends on the rotation is what I meant to say.
Well, I'll say why I think Rangers will finish top.
Okay.
I think a big factor that's been not looked at is Morelos and Hadji are going to be back this season for Rangers.
That's a
who
fair
were
point.
massive misses last season.
Sadie's not going to be back till November.
Well, he's still going to be back. but-
He's still going to be back next
When's
season.
Morelos back?
Is he not
Morelos
getting
is
back
back
soon?
now.
He's,
I used to say
yeah,
that's the first time I've spoken about 5, 6, 7 minutes. Something like that. I've just been enjoying this. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Aye,
It
so-
get really heated there. That was great
Yeah.
fun.
But did lose Aribo and Bassey, big losses, but we brought in Yilmaz, and I think Tom Lawrence will do the same amount of job as Aribo did. Maybe not as well, but
Tillman's there as well.
yeah, Tillman. And we'll have Hadji in soon. I just think with Gio in this season, he's got a full season at it, and we'll just cruise it. I think it will be an absolute scalp.
This is his first full season, to be
Yeah,
fair.
I think we're going to get Champions League. We're going to scalp Celtic in the league. It's going to be a good year.
But do you know what you were saying earlier about how you were struggling to have? I think Stu was saying it, about how you're struggling. You struggle to get good training sessions in and stuff like that. Was your point more that it's because you get a new manager than it's just?
No, because
No,
if you get Champions League, you can have that.
It's going to have the same situation.
No, but
again.
it's
mean
partially
before
new
Morris-
manager, and it's like it's not as bad because it's like Celtic will have the same problems. It's a fact that we were playing
with
up
they were.
until right till the final.
Yeah.
Like we had it the full season.
But that could happen again. Like Celtic could get dropped out all the competitions again.
It could very well happen.
Could very well
I think it's
Well-
partially to do with the new manager as well. Like
And you think,
Yeah.
because you needed more time to train with your. But as you said, this is the first full season, and he's had more than half a season to.
if we're being realistic, Celtic will be third or fourth in the Champions League, and I think it's a big problem if they come third, because then they drop into Europa League, and
yeah.
they're seeded, so they're probably going to be beaten, playing a team that aren't as good as them, which then means they're then into March in the Europa League, and it will just cause the same issues as it did for Rangers last season.
That's the thing, though. But that is, and from Celtic's point of view,
fair.
that's probably something they want. If
Yeah.
they do get third, they want that. But it's not. It doesn't bode. It obviously doesn't bode well for them in this.
Aaron will never admit that progression in Europe's a good thing. Yeah,
I mean, progression in
don't
Europe.
care about the final.
I mean,
when was the last time Celtic won a European tie?
I mean, also let's not count for the fact that you practically were talking about, the league's the most important thing, and then the second you've got a whiff of the Europa League final, you go, Europe's the most important thing in the
I mean,
world.
if you win Europe,
Celtic had a suite in their stadium named after.
We just don't know. That's just
No, you
absolute
did.
fabrication.
No, you did.
That's just falsehood.
Rangers.
That's just falsehood.
They
It's
did.
not true.
It is.
It isn't.
The Rangers fans were phoning up
Stuart,
at the
I go to Celtic Park
A suite.
most weekends, and we have never had a suite called the Seville Suite.
When have you been in a suite? I
have
couldn't.
been in a suite multiple times.
I couldn't name you a single suite in Ibrox, and you're saying you
The
can.
Kerrydale suite, bar 67. I can name that as well. Like, just because I can name a suite doesn't dispute the fact
Wait,
that we
they're not
don't
suites.
have the suite.
So the joke of Rangers fans phoning up Celtic Park and saying book that was just completely made up.
Yes, it was, because you're fucking weird. That is what you are.
Have you ever been on the Celtic blog, mate?
I mean, unfortunately, I have been that as well, but yous are somehow still weirder than that. Phoning up Celtic Park, talking about a suite that doesn't exist because you think you're hilarious.
Right, Cal, who do you have top?
God, I don't even think it matters at this point.
He doesn't-
We're all winners here. I'm the winner.
He's the real winner. He's had to watch. He's just got to watch it.
I do have Rangers first. I think it will be quite tight. I think it'll go right to the end, just as it usually does. And hopefully another helicopter Sunday would be good fun.
No, I should not have that, please.
I mean, I think Rangers will nick it. I do think that. I think Rangers, because I think my big thing is because Rangers have had to deal with the fact that they've had Europe for large parts of the last season. They'll be more able to cope with that again if they do go far. Whereas if Celtic, for example, do drop into the Europa League, I think they'll struggle more. But they might end up finishing fourth, and that might not matter. But I think
that's a fair point.
The other thing is me, I think the signings that Rangers have made, they're quite a lot of them. Okay, so that Matondo, I think he's a player. He's a player. Honestly, I wouldn't mind him at Arsenal. That's how ridiculous I think. He looks so. He's absolute sauce.
They absolutely tore Regulon apart.
He did. I also love that. He was beaten. He playing against Spurs, and I'm a bit biased in that part.
For context.
So yeah, and with Celtic, another thing is they spent quite a lot of money to actually keep the squad they had last season together. But you never know. We'll see. Ange did it last year. He could do it again. But I'm going to go Rangers first.
I will say something in Celtic's favour here. I think spending the money on players you know did well is a good move.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of your budget. That is the negative. But it's better spending the 11 million on players you know will play well rather than spending it on players that might not play well.
No, they were right to do that.
Yeah.
But when you're comparing it to Rangers didn't need to do that. They just made a lot of money on players that they got out the door. And
Different strategies.
Different strategies. And I think Rangers, when you're comparing it to Celtics, just on this season, I think
I've noticed that you have started to adopt a bit more of like the strategy that we had in that as well, like selling your players on for big money and then sort of chancing it on diamonds that you might find.
I mean, that's always been the strategy in Scotland, though.
Yeah.
It's just a case of last season
couldn't do it as much.
last season Gerrard wanted to keep the squad together. He wanted to go again, pretty much, and have one last go of it. And I think we probably should have sold some players last year.
Yeah, but
Obviously,
obviously,
got run down.
It's so bad as it's realistically as well when we're getting decent offers for them.
I think it depends on how big the offer there, because I think they were like 4 million.
also depends on the options that you have. Who is your other option at left back other than
Well,
like
it was
Yilmaz
Barisic,
down
I
that
should
as
say.
well?
Yilmaz and
Barisic,
Barisic.
so
It's probably our strongest position in terms of depth.
Yeah, because we don't even know who's going to start, really.
fair enough. Well, obviously you guys have Rangers top in front,
And-
obviously.
obviously.
And another point as well for Rangers. There's VAR next year and Celtic get all the penalties and all that.
No, that's obvious, mate. I'm not buying into that. But like,
Penalty Rangers.
There's VAR from after the World
That's
Cup
good.
next season.
realistically, but it should have been in at the start of the season. I don't
They,
think the SFL
they shouldn't have been adding stuff like that halfway through
Yeah,
the season.
Exactly.
They should just wait an extra half a season.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you're going to introduce it, you either introduce it at the start of this season,
Or
or
next,
you
wait
don't
till
bother, wait till
Yeah.
next season,
Yeah.
and then bring it in from the start.
Sure.
But obviously, as you can maybe no doubt tell by the reactions of the boys here, I've got Celtic in here at top.
Yeah.
And we've
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
No way. Yeah. But I think we've signed a lot of players.
I think we went over
Well, we've went over
Aye.
it. We've went over it. You've shouted about it. We've went over it again.
I never really
You
got. I never
started.
really got my point across
did, you
because this
started.
man like.
You did. You started.
You started. You were saying about Moy.
Don't worry. We know why you went Celtic. We know that we like your signings.
I also named the potential UCL fitness issues in that as well in my points, so I'll obviously say that as well. Champions League.
You're that
could end up
heated. You
causing-
can't remember what you've said.
But
He's a passionate man for his team.
Very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
passionate. That was serious.
no, like if there's one thing I'm passionate about, it is this football club and that as well. So I will happily sit there. But yeah, also I think a lot of it just comes down and Yeah, Celtic fans have got a lot of faith in Ange to keep, obviously, first of all, keep the squad together as we've done, and second of all, hopefully kick on further. Because I think Celtic have got that mindset where it's like it's a new season, we just start from now kind of thing. And I think that'll stand us pretty well. But I think we'll do pretty well. I think we'll win the league.
Good stuff. So that is done.
Aye, that's right.
Wrapped it up.
That was
That took ages, but it's like that could be 2 videos really. It should be the Celtic and Rangers part, and then wherever else.
It's probably most likely going to be 2 videos by the time we clip up the Celtic and Rangers arguments again.
That was brilliant. German power. So yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching. Of course, comment who you think's going to finish in what position, who's going to win the title. Did you enjoy that little argument? That was good fun. Of course, give us a like and subscribe.
Cheers, guys.